It's 10:20. Means it's 4:20 somewhere. So if you got one, spark up. All right. Part 4 of When Will Jesus Bring the Pork Chops? Let's get started.
It was that softer language we now prefer. The new language. The language that takes the life out of life. You don't hear the word millennium much anymore, do you? It's kind of sad. Here's a word that lies around for long periods of time looking for work, but never really doing very much. Then every 1,000 years, things suddenly pick up, and there's a flurry of activity. The word is on everyone's lips, and it's heard in almost every conversation. It stays red hot for several years, enjoying its popularity, seeing its name in newspapers and magazines.
One thing I never understood with the new millennium, because I was alive for 99, Y2K, all that shit. Happens every 1,000 years, but millennium, mil, kind of their prefix to million. How did they come up with that? I mean, granted, can't really come up with a sleek sounding word like millennium for 1,000, but a thousium, I don't know. Something I never understood.
Making appearances on radio and TV. But then a peak is reached, and after a while things begin to slow down. The activity tapers off, and before long, it's once again relegated to history books, academic journals, and reference works. Goodbye, poor millennium. I'm going to miss you. When you return, I may not be here to welcome you back. I saw 2 bumper stickers on a car. Hate is not a family value, and value all families. What is the purpose of having things like this on your car? Certainly it's not to change someone else's opinion of family life at a red light. More likely, the purpose is to inform us that the driver doesn't hate anyone, and that he considers himself pure and virtuous and better than the rest of us. So it's actually self-righteousness. The driver apparently forgot that the 7 deadly sins include both anger and pride. I don't care if Michael Jackson freaked off with little boys or not. It doesn't bother me. Fuck those kids, and fuck their greedy parents, too. What's important to me is that Michael is the greatest entertainer who ever lived, bar none. Watch him dance. Pay attention to the showmanship. No one ever came close. Elvis was a bogus white guy with sex appeal and good looks who ripped off a lot of great black music, watered it down, and made it safe for lame whites who couldn't handle the experience of raw, emotional black music. Never grew as an artist, remained an entertainer. Fuck Elvis. Sammy Davis Jr.? Nice try. Ordinary dancer, ordinary singer, second-rate impressionist. I also didn't like the insincere sincerity. But he was a nice man personally. I give him credit for that. Frank Sinatra? Great singer of songs, among the best. Superb musician, grew as an artist. No showmanship, though. Arrogant, too, and mean to ordinary people. Fuck him. Michael Jackson buries them all. I say give him a bunch of kids and let them dance. I've decided to cash in on TV's
I'm uncertain with when it comes to Michael. Yeah, he had some odd things that he did with himself. But Macaulay Culkin and what's the other boy's name? There was another kid who grew up in Hollywood. Why am I drawing a blank? But he did like this big expose, like just exposing everyone that was in Hollywood doing dirt. And when he was asked about Michael, he had nothing to say. These are 2 prominent children actors who both had nothing but who have done plenty of talking, but had nothing but good things to say about Michael. The industry is dirty. Michael was trying to get the rights to his music, along with some other shit. I don't know. It's a tough situation, but I can't say one way or another he did or didn't. I just find it suspect that the two kids who were dropping names said they didn't believe it. So, anyways.
Reality show trend, and I have several ideas, but they may need a little work, before I approach the networks. Here's what I'm working.
Corey Feldman. That's what it was. Corey Feldman. My bad. It came back to me.
on. This first idea grew out of Survivor, but I have a new twist. You put 12 people on a barren island, and you let them starve to death. You make sure they get no food, but you provide plenty of fresh drinking water. You don't want them to die of thirst. You want them to starve to death. Now that would be entertaining enough, but here's the fun. You make sure half the contestants are large, aggressive, physically fit individuals, and the other half are small, mild-mannered, and physically weak. Then you wait them out and see who survives. And more fun than that, you watch how they survive. The show is called Guess Who's for Dinner? The only part I haven't decided yet is whether to provide utensils. Here's another idea I think has a pretty good shot with the networks. Maniac on drugs. Each week you put a different homicidal maniac in a van filled with assault rifles, and you provide him with large amounts of speed, crack, acid, and PCP. Then you just let him drive around New York City for several days, and you videotape everything he does. Naturally, you clear all this with the police, so they don't interfere with the smooth flow of the show. At the end of 13 weeks, you take all the maniacs, give them a fresh supply of drugs, and turn them loose at Disney World with rocket-propelled grenades. Huh? Actually, now that I think about it, this idea is too good for the networks. I'm going to put it on pay-per-view. Here's a variation for the finale, in case the Disney people get squeamish. You give the maniacs the same drugs, but instead of grenade launchers, you go back to the assault rifles. Everything's the same, but
in the movie The Dark Knight, Alfred says some people just want to see the world burn. It's hard to believe, like, the way George's mind worked and his understanding of things. If he wasn't one of those people, just wanted to see it burn. Or if it was all just, comedy. But a part of me feels like he's one of those people. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
it's time you put them on an ordinary non-stop passenger train from New York to Los Angeles. You strap video cameras to their heads, and you let them run loose on the train, allowing them to befriend the other passengers. Remember, it's non-stop. No one can get off. I guarantee you'd get some really great footage. By the way, to save a little money, this could also be done on a Greyhound bus. But you'd need a really good driver who isn't easily distracted. Here's the show I'm the proudest of because it took the most thought. I call it Lucky Bachelor. Our chosen guy is selected from letters sent into the show. In step 1, the Lucky Bachelor is sent out on 3 separate occasions to pick up women in cheap bars and bring each of them to a hotel where he tries to fuck them. If they go along easily, he then convinces them to commit a perverted act involving a floor lamp, a woodpecker, and a box of rubber bands. An act most people would consider completely depraved. All this activity is videotaped. In step 2, we stop 3 men at random on the street, show them the videos, and ask them which of the women the Lucky Bachelor should marry. That woman is called the designated bride. We then ask the 2 losing women to vote on which one of the 3 random street guys looks like the best fuck. That guy is called the designated best fuck street guy. In step 3, we take the 2 losing street guys and the 2 losing bar girls and feed them near-fatal doses of aphrodisiacs, put them in thong bathing suits, and turn them loose in an adult sex shop with unlimited credit. This footage, strictly an added feature, could possibly be some of the liveliest on the show. Now, the alert listener is probably wondering what happened to our original Lucky Bachelor. Well, in step 4, we arrange for him and the designated best fuck street guy to stage a bare-knuckle fistfight to the death in the center aisle of St. Peter's in Rome during a papal high mass. The two men must keep fighting until one of them dies. It's important to the show. As a side feature, we keep a camera trained on the Pope, and every time he falls asleep during the fight, we give the guys an extra $100. The reason it's important that one of the two men dies is because the next day, in the same church, we're going to hold step 5, a combination wedding and funeral. The loser of the fight gets the funeral. The winner gets to marry the designated hotel fuck bride, with the remaining losing bar and hotel participants serving as bridesmaids and pallbearers. We then give the newlyweds all the leftover drugs from Maniac on Drugs and send them on a honeymoon to some nice conservative golfing resort on Hilton Head Island, where they're required to take large amounts of drugs and 2 weeks of golf and tennis lessons. This next one is my makeover show. My working title is Try Looking Like That for a Change. You start by picking 3 incredibly beautiful, successful supermodels, and then, against their wills, you sedate them, strap them down, and subject them to extensive plastic surgery. You give them big misshapen noses, sagging eye bags, and plenty of wrinkles and drooping skin on their faces. Then you pump enough fat into their asses, hips, and thighs to make them really unhappy. When they come out of the anesthesia, the audience yells, "Try looking like that for a change." I'm so excited about this one that I'm working on a variation that involves involuntary sex change surgery.
Prior to this, did he just describe Kim Kardashian before Kim Kardashian was Kim Kardashian that we know? So if I remember correctly, someone said this was from like 2004, 2005. I don't know, when did Kim Kardashian become famous with all that surgery? Because, yeah, this could be some prophecy right here.
Well, that's about it for reality shows. I suppose all that's left would be for me to tell you about a show called Bowel Movement. Basically, it's a show that involves a fixed position camera, a toilet, and a series of guys with diets organized primarily around beer and extra spicy Mexican food. Perhaps it's better if I don't go into too much detail at this time. And you know something I'm thinking? This one might actually belong on cable. Well, that's it, folks. I've done all I can to develop a hit show, but the creative process can only take you so far. The rest is up to you, the public, and I'm counting on your good taste. First, let me say that most people take these so-called tragedies, like Columbine and Oklahoma City, far too seriously. You have to remember, it's all part of the American way of life. If you live in America, you have to go along with these things. You can't be sitting around whining, "Oh, a lot of people got killed." These things happen, folks. People get killed. But concerning the guys, and it's always men, who commit these mass killings, and other less dramatic murders for that matter, after the sentence of death is passed, you'll usually see the whining families of the victims insist on watching the execution up close, through a little window. They want to see the guy die. Don't these people know there's nothing to see? It's uneventful. An attendant gives the guy an injection. It's like watching someone get a flu shot. There's nothing to see. But they often get their wish, and they're allowed to witness what's little more than a medical procedure. Now, my feeling is, if you're going to let people watch some guy get executed, it would make much more sense to put on a little show for these ghouls. Entertain them. Place the guy in a small steel room, and send in 4 or 5 of these sadistic prison guards with steel pipes, and let them beat the guy to death for about an hour. A constant, uninterrupted 60-minute clubbing would seem far more in keeping with our national values. And of course, this method would be much more satisfying to the families of these so-called victims. These fine, upstanding religious families who believe in a merciful God. They'd enjoy watching these psychotic, animalistic prison guards doing what comes naturally, administering a nice, brutal clubbing. Prison guards who, by the way, dare I say, are also all fine, upstanding religious people as well. Folks, if you're going to do these things, don't settle for halfway measures. Do them right. Do them the Christian way. As a public service, next weekend, Boy Scouts will be picking up litter and trash from America's highways and dumping it in America's rivers. If you'd like to pitch in and help the Boy Scouts, bring some of your own trash from home and throw it out the window of your car as you drive along your favorite road. You'll be doing your part to keep the highways clean. By the way, if you have any ideas about cleaning up the rivers, let us know. I'm tired of these Canadians who have worked in the American news media for years and still haven't learned to pronounce the words out and about. Peter Jennings is one of them, and there are about 3 or 4 more prominent ones. These people need to be taught that it's out and about, not oot and about. I say if you can't learn the language, it's about time you got the fuck outta here. Besides, Canadians are just disguised English people. And it's a well-known fact that all English people...
And just to think, had he come out with this, maybe 10 years later? Well, let me just put it like this. If George Carlin was still alive, what are the chances you think there would be an attempt to cancel George? Personally, I think George would be a little too big to cancel all the way. I mean, they'd have to work hard. But, especially where, like, nowadays people are getting canceled over what? Like a tweet from 8-9 years ago?
Deserve to die. Things I wonder about the FBI's list of the 10 most wanted criminals. When they catch a guy and he comes off the list, does number 11 automatically move up? And does he see it as a promotion? Does he call his criminal friends and say, "I made it, Bruno. I'm finally on the list"? How about when a new, really dangerous guy comes along and they absolutely have to put him at the top of the list without delay? Call it number 1 with a bullet if you wish. Doesn't everyone else have to move down a notch? And doesn't one guy get dropped off? How do they decide which guy to drop? Is it automatically number 10? And how does he feel about that? Does he feel slighted? Does he feel maybe it should have been someone else? Has anyone who was demoted ever killed the new guy to gain his spot back? One last question. Does the FBI search harder for number 3 than they do for number 7? I would. Otherwise, why have the numbers at all? These are the kind of thoughts that keep me from making any real progress in life. There are too many people, period. There have always been too many people, from the beginning. If these diaper-sniffing Christian baby-mongers would stop having so many of these cross-eyed little kids, maybe the rest of us would have a chance to spread out and have a little fun. Excess children waste our natural resources. If this society wants me to conserve energy, it had better get some of these child-worshipping religious fanatics to stop having 5, 6, or 7 babies. When they do that, I'll start turning off the lights. And yeah, I know the fertility rate is down. Good. It should go down even further. Every family should be allowed half a child. If that. I live in Los Angeles. Who are all these guys in their 20s out on the streets skateboarding at 2 and 3 in the afternoon? They're 20s. Get off the streets and find work, motherfucker. And by the way, I'm not talking about X Games guys who are really good at it. That's different. That's a way of life. I'm talking about these skateboard fucks who look like they're actually going somewhere. As if the skateboard were a means of transportation. What the fuck's the deal with these guys? Same with these rollerblading and scooter fucks. Why are these fully grown men out on the street playing with children's toys during working hours? And wearing helmets, for Christ's sakes. Jesus, I would be so embarrassed to wear a helmet. Grow up, motherfucker. And while you're at it, stay out of the range of my car. I might just decide to run some consumer tests on those helmets. I might also decide to clear the streets of all non-essential traffic. So get a job or play on the sidewalk with the rest of the kids. I find I'm starting to get more compassionate. I gotta watch that. Children's Hospital in New York is quite an amazing place. On a recent visit, I saw 2 7-year-olds performing a kidney transplant. Be careful whom you befriend. They will eventually ask you for something. When she was getting fucked by Roy Rogers, do you think Dale Evans ever screamed, "Giddy up, Roy"? Here's a dead-end business. A shoe shine stand at the beach. Mexico has a new holiday known as the name-calling fiesta. People dress up in colorful costumes and do a series of folk dances while they call each other cocksucker and motherfucker. Then they all get drunk and eat a big meal. Michael Jackson missed his calling. If he had become a Catholic priest, he could have spent 30 or 40 years blowing all the little boys he wanted, and no one would have said a word. Hard work is a misleading term. Physical effort and long hours.
Oh, shit. Damn. I ain't gonna lie. One of my favorite South Park episodes is Boy and a Priest. Just the way they all go to church just to roast the fucking priest. Kind of funny. If you haven't seen it, I recommend. I think it was season maybe 21 or 22. Don't quote me on that. But I believe it was one of them early in the season.
Don't really constitute hard work. Hard work is when someone pays you to do something you'd rather not be doing. Anytime you'd rather be doing something other than the thing you're doing hard work. Cosmologists are just now beginning to accept the possibility that the Big Bang was actually caused by a huge explosion in a meth lab. Hello, I'm Howard Finley, and I'm running for state's attorney general. This is my pledge to you. If I am elected and someone breaks the law, I will personally go to his house and beat the shit out of him. Thank you. Why does it always take longer to get somewhere than it does to come back? Hey, what's with these recumbent bicycles? Listen, buddy, if you want to take a nap, lie down. If you want to ride a bike, buy a fucking bicycle. I prefer people with imagination. Dictators, serial killers, schizophrenics, assassins, skinheads, drug lords, violent bikers, devil worshippers. To me, these are the interesting people. To get its edge back, I think what America really needs is more evil. Intense, unalloyed, concentrated evil. I was reading a fitness magazine that had an article about cross-training, and I realized this would have been a good idea for Jesus.
Alright, my bad. Not sure what happened, but got a couple minutes left. Let's get back to it.
Evil. I was reading a fitness magazine that had an article about cross-training, and I realized this would have been a good idea for Jesus. People who see life as anything more than pure entertainment are missing the point. I'll tell you one thing, the future ain't what it used to be. Wouldn't it be fun if all at once everybody just forgot everything they knew? These professional child worshippers say we should put the needs of children first. Why? What about the needs of adults? We come second? It's stupid. If you put the needs of children first, you're going to wind up with way too many diapers and lollipops, and not nearly enough bongs and condoms. What happened? Washington, Jefferson, Franklin, Madison, Adams, Hamilton, Things were going well. Ford, Quayle, Mondale, Agnew, Nixon, Clinton, Dole, Bush 1, Bush 2. What happened? This morning I had a great idea, but it was too late to put it into the book. I just wanted you to know that this is where it would have gone. True fact. There's a radio commercial that says a certain diet pill works 3 times faster than starvation. Here's my question. Are they guessing? Or did they really run these tests? Here's something you can't do by yourself. Practice shaking hands. Stop in today at Ann Bennington's Quality Cyst Removal. Regular cysts, $5. Really big difficult cysts, $1 a pound. Ann Bennington's Cyst Removal for the Discerning. This is the optimist. I have no friends, no family, no money, no food, no job, no credit, no luck, no hope, and no future. However, I do have matches, toothpicks, chewing gum, paper clips, rubber bands, shoelaces, and scotch tape. Maybe things aren't so bad after all. Am I the only one who thinks the Muppets weren't funny? If you have twins, a good idea is to sell one of them. What the fuck, you got 2? Why not pick up a few dollars? When child abuser Father John Gagan was killed in prison, he was 68 years old. If a psychic had attended his ordination some 40 years earlier and told his parents, "When John is 68, he will be strangled to death in prison while serving time for touching children's penises," at the very least, there would have been a small commotion. True fact, there is now a gay softball World Series. A children's museum sounds like a good idea, but I would imagine it's not very easy to breathe inside the little glass cases. Why is it the only time you ever hear the word figment, it's in relation to the imagination? Aren't there any other kinds of figments? If everyone in the world sat quietly at the same time, closed their eyes, and concentrated as hard as they could on peace and goodwill, all the killing and cruelty in the world would continue and probably increase. You know what you never see? A Korean guy with freckles and a big hook nose. I wonder, when we pick up the telephone, does each of us get his own individual dial tone? Or is there just one system-wide master dial tone that each of us jumps on and off when we need it? These things eat at me. If a safe is unlocked, is it still a safe? Here's an optical illusion you can try at home. Take a pencil and make a small black dot in the middle of an ordinary piece of paper. Cover your left eye and stare at the dot from a distance of about 2 inches. You will see the Battle of Chancellorsville. If you don't, check the paper. Or maybe you made the dot wrong. Just because you don't have a lot of money to spend is no reason you shouldn't spend what little you have. You know what would be a good promotional idea for a singles bar? Date Rape Friday. Drinks half price, free GHB, free Plan B pills, free RU486 morning after pills, free rape counseling, and generous rebate coupons for an abortion clinic. That takes care of attracting the men. I'm still working on how to get some women to show up. I had no shoes and I felt sorry for myself until I met a man with no feet. I took his shoes. Now I feel better.
We're gonna stop there. Yeah, so this was part 4. We are an hour and 22 minutes in. So we got 6 hours, 7 minutes, and 12 seconds left. No, 5 hours, 6 minutes, and nope, 7 minutes. Wow. My math is usually not that off. 5 hours, 7 minutes, 12 seconds left. But I'll probably do something else over the next couple days. Give it a little break in between. And pick back up on this weekend. Other than that, thanks for watching. Y'all have a nice night. Stay blazing.